Go.
I think that retirement is a first step towards the grave.
I'm never going to grow up. Staying young is all about for me.
From my point of view, I'm the luckiest kid on the planet.
The major civilizing force in the world is not religion, it is sex.
I'm actually a very moral guy.
If you let society or your peers define who you are, then you're less for it.
Someone once asked, what's your best pickup line? I said, my best pickup line is, hi, my name is...
Hello there. Glad you could join us this evening. I'm Hugh Hefner, editor-publisher of Playboy magazine, and your host.
Hey everybody, where are we? Well, we are at my home, the Playboy Mansion. Come along, I'm going to show you inside my beautiful place, and we'll talk a little bit about my favorite person, Hugh. Oh, there he is now. Hey.
But just let me say, surrounding myself with beautiful women keep me young.
I love that guy. I wonder what makes him so successful, such a successful salesman. Hugh Hefner, also known as Hef, transformed the adult entertainment industry with his groundbreaking publication, Dun Dun Dun, Playboy. Stemming from his teenage years, Hugh Hefner has always been a leader. He started out by becoming the president of student council and then founded a school newspaper. This was the first sign of his journalistic talents. In 1950, Hefner had a copywriting job at Esquire. When he was denied a $5 raise, #yikes, Hefner quit the magazine. Eager to start his own magazine, Hefner got 45 investors and raised $8,000, which included his mom and brother. #family first always. Hefner planned to originally call the magazine Star Party, but since there was already Star Magazine, he was forced to change the name to something that a colleague of his suggested, which was Playboy. #we see you, Hugh. To help ensure success of his first launch, he purchased a color photograph of Marilyn Monroe in the nude, #what the fatness, and placed it in the centerfold of the magazine. The first issue sold 50,000 copies, and it was an instant hit. In the 1950s, America was trying to dig themselves out of the 30 years of war and depression, and Playboy was the first perfect way to switch the focus. Let's be real. #sex sells. Initially, many people dismissed the magazine because of the pornographic material. In the 1960s, Hugh promoted the philosophy about free enterprise, nature of man and woman, human sexuality, and politics. #open that can of worms. With all of the other components, Hugh always made sure the magazine was still focused on pictures of nude women, which was #1 selling point. #sex sells. While the magazine was growing, Hugh found the opportunity to build private key clubs where the hostesses were called Playboy Bunnies. I think you all saw a cute one earlier. Hugh's Playboy enterprise went on to build hotel resorts, modeling agencies, and media endeavors.
Hugh Hefner. Love him or hate him, the fact that you know his name and his brand is proof of just how effective he was as a salesman. But exactly what traits characterized him as Gladwell's concept of a salesman? How was he able to turn an idea into a social epidemic? Who would have ever imagined that a bunny could be sexy? Easter Bunny watch out. Hefner's background played a considerable role in shaping his life. As he put it, my parents were prohibitionists. They didn't drink, they didn't smoke or swear. I suppose they must have had sex a couple of times because my brother Keith and I are here, but that's about it. Hefner could have quietly accepted society's and his family's rigid values despite disagreeing with them. However, something about his personality would not let him sit passively by while feeling internally conflicted. It was personal characteristics such as these that contributed to Hefner's overall effectiveness as a salesman. Salesmen are keen observers and understand the environments in which they operate on an almost anthropological level. Hefner was living in the post-war American Midwest, where he sensed that underneath the semblance of pre-war normalcy, the war had profoundly affected many Americans, especially young men. Hefner was not the only one feeling a sense of unrest. The war had disrupted people's notion of the status quo. Humans are social creatures possessing an innate need for interaction and expression. Hefner's unhappiness with the invisible straitjacket of his environment, which so intensely inhibited self-expression, served as the catalyst for his eventual public revolt. Playboy was a response to my own Puritan upbringing. There were personal motivations associated with the start of the magazine. I was in an unhappy marriage and I was afraid I was going to turn into my parents. #say what? Hefner's love of writing and cartooning from a young age and the publishing experience he gained by working at Esquire magazine as a young adult equipped him with the skills to establish the vehicle for his voice, Playboy magazine. For the first time in my life, I felt free. It was like a mission, to publish a magazine that would thumb its nose at all the restrictions that had bound me. One of the qualities that effective salesmen possess is an undaunted spirit. Salesmen's strong desire to convince others of a worthwhile product or idea instills them with a sense of fearlessness that allows them to forge ahead despite uncertainties. If Hefner had been paralyzed by fear or doubt, Playboy would not exist. In addition to confidence, salesmen are able to summon and direct their energy toward tipping others to accept their message. Whereas most people would give up after countless obstacles and failures, salesmen like Hefner are relentless workaholics. They are internally motivated by the thrill of the sale. Few people utilize the power of emotional contagiousness better than salesmen. The high degree of emotional contagiousness they possess allows them to infect people with their emotions, quickly establish a rapport, and increase the likelihood of making a sale. In some respects, salesmen are selling themselves with each sales pitch. At times, regardless of the product or idea that is being pitched, the buyer agrees simply because he or she likes the salesman. Perhaps there is no better example of this than Hefner's own experience while seeking investors for his venture. My mother took me aside and said that she had some money of her own, and that she would give me $1,000. She didn't believe in the magazine, but she believed in her son. #believing is achieving. Hefner was astutely aware that for newcomer Playboy to even compete in crowded newsstands, it would have to accomplish two things: grab attention and keep attention. He was a master of stickiness and knew full well that sex sells. In a prospectus letter to investors, Hefner wrote, "Sex is surefire." #whoa there. Hefner certainly was not the first person to publish a magazine that featured photos of nude women. He recognized that the success of Playboy depended on his ability to present his avant-garde ideas and images in a polished and palatable mainstream package. That said, part of Playboy's appeal was that it would often push the envelope in terms of presentation and subject matter. Hefner often highlighted art, music, and topics that were not mainstream. Playboy often capitalized on current events and hot-button topics, acting as a forum for provocative articles and serious interviews. Playboy was geared toward its target market, middle-class white men in cities and rural areas who might have echoed similarly negative sentiments about society's conservatism. Hefner felt that the Playboy philosophy deserved its place in the mainstream, and subscribing to the magazine was a safe way for men, married or single, to connect with the lifestyle and be part of a larger ongoing dialogue. #Hugh looking out for the boys. To be effective as Playboy's spokesman, Hefner would have to embody the brand and model the lifestyle, smoking jacket and all. I changed myself in high school when I was rejected by a girl I was crazy about, and then I obviously used the magazine to recreate myself in the persona of the publication. To broaden his reach and make Playboy even more sticky, Hefner cleverly ventured into television and nightclubs. Television modeled the desirable Playboy lifestyle, replete with sophisticated clothes, music, drinks, racial integration, and of course, beautiful women. By allowing people to adopt Playboy into their daily lives and social circles, Hefner was creating an army of brand ambassadors. Before people knew it, attitudes had changed, and the Playboy brand and philosophy had infiltrated mainstream culture. The prevailing values in the country now are libertarian, which was essentially what the Playboy philosophy was. It's laissez-faire, anti-censorship, consumerist, hedonistic, freedom of speech. Hugh Hefner was a salesman of the libertarian ideal.
Tipping point in medicine is a critical point where an outbreak will either become an epidemic or vanish. Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point describes how social epidemics have similar tipping points. In essence, it develops small changes to make big difference. Salesmen are persuaders. They are charming, likable, and subtle. You don't know why you agree, you just do. Hashtag magic touch. You have been influenced in some tangible way, and you act on it because you have been persuaded. Some leadership theory in tipping point is the stickiness factors. This involves how effective an idea or product stays in the mind of the potential viewer or consumer. For Hugh Hefner, as a salesman, he used his love of movie images and pin-up women to develop a general interest magazine for young men. The combination of sports, cartoons, music, and of course, nude photos of women are used in his magazine to entice an American audience that are trapped in middle-class conformity. The other leadership theory is the power of context. Human behavior is sensitive and strongly influenced by its present environment and situational pressure. This means that certain situations can be powerful enough that they overrule an inherent predisposition. For Hugh Hefner, he saw a disconnect about how sex is associated with sinfulness and scandal, where in fact it's a natural part of human existence. Hashtag think outside the box. He broke the status quo, and when he introduced in 1953 the first issue of Playboy with a young Marilyn Monroe as a playmate centerfold, and for the first time, it was a magazine that introduces conservative America to sexual freedom and slowly breaking the norms of society. Hashtag you knew what he was talking about. And consumers bought his magazines, and the rest, as you may know, is history, where Hefner established a billion-dollar enterprise.
Our team will give hashtag 3 recommendations for Playboy Company. The first one is expanding the core business. Expanding the core business includes diversifying the magazine business, components, and sales strategy in regards to how to access the magazine domestically and internationally. To diversify the scope of the business, Playboy can increase the company's sales channel. If people want to buy magazines, they can only go to the bookstore or supermarket to buy them. It is not convenient for everyone. Hashtag we get it. The second one is selling the classical style magazines, which both raised to Playboy to begin with. The company can sell their classic style of the product on magazines in each quarter or half the year to allow people to buy this style as an option. Secondly, a partnership with famous brand. We may have heard from Playboy Company cooperation with many different brands, but most of brands are very small and unknown. Playboy Company should partner with more brands like Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and so on.
Finally, we all know a lot of online websites provide free book or adult video let people to watch. It would be nice of Playboy to offer specials or deals to attract more clients.
花花公子应该持续在全球市场推广自己品牌的风格与主旨，尤其是在像中国这样的新兴经济体，与美国战后阶段类似，渴望消费的中产阶级数量增长，将为花花公子提供生产独特产品和体验的机会。
Hugh Hefner is a great salesman for his Playboy magazine, #right. He took advantage of using his magazine background to jumpstart his career. He was not only creative but also brave. When people want to be a successful salesman, brainstorming is not enough. Hugh Hefner dared to invest all of his money in his dream. As a salesman, he brought his passion to the magazine and made his customer feel his enthusiasm through transferring his positive energy. When he came across with opponents, he never gave up. #keep the dream alive. He became Playboy's best spokesperson and a #sexicon. He showed what Playboys was all about and brought light to many of other fields such as nightclub and television. He successfully voiced his thoughts, which influenced men and women alike. However, if Playboy can continue to be innovative and cooperate with some other luxury brands, and also use new technologies to create electric magazines, which can make Playboy brilliant again.
There is no doubt that Hef was an iconic change agent, and for better or worse, he left an indelible mark, not only on the American psyche, but on global culture.
Pull my heart out of my chest, train my mind so I forget. Sink your teeth into my bones, dig me out, then fill the hole. Tear me apart and watch it burn. Tear me apart.